Welcome, everybody. First things first, as always, if I could just get a quick audio visual check, please let me know if you can see my charts clearly and hear me all right. Let me know if you can hear me by, first of all, letting me know how your day is going. How's everyone feeling about the markets today? How does everyone feel about the sell off that we saw today? Obviously, there's a lot of sell pressure in the market today, so I want to talk about that a little bit, go over just a couple things on a few different time frames. Sounds good. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All good. Perfect. Thank you, other stew. A stew's got to stick together. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys for first of all for joining me, hearing me out here. Like I said, quite a lot of blood in the streets today. Markets are quite red despite the recent bounce we got. So I just want to take a quick look at some Bitcoin and maybe even a few altcoin charts on a few different time frames to just kind of see what the heck is going on in the markets right now. Hopefully this big sell pressure didn't come as too much of a surprise to you. It really shouldn't have if you've been tuning into my recent streams or if you're in my Stu Signals Telegram channel. I've been very, very vocal about only playing the downside in this market recently, you guys. So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are sick of me even talking about the bearish scenario. I know I'm seeming like a perma bear. I get like this when I see that specific weekly chart pattern. So I'm sorry, the weekly chart typically takes a while to either A, play out, or B, get invalidated. Either way, I'm probably still going to be talking about the bearish side of things for a little bit. Dumping, you have a different definition of dumping, and yeah, that's totally fair too, right? Because everybody trades different time frames. Yeah, you know, on the 5-minute and the 1-minute chart, I would absolutely consider that dumping. That was a beautiful short when you add some leverage and that sort of stuff. Yeah, I would consider it a dump. On, you know, all 3 shorts that I took. No complaints there. So yeah, I mean, I do consider it a bit of a dump because I play with fairly high leverage on shorter time frames, but to each their own, right? Everyone's trading different time frames. Everyone has their own strategies, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, hopefully you guys are all doing good. I mean, that's the thing. I want to talk about obviously the shorter time frame. I want to look at the longer time frames as well. I personally think what you will when you decide that, okay, Stu, you were right. That is a dump. I still think that move is around the corner. But again, happy to be wrong. Just like I talked about last night. Just like I've been talking about in my Telegram channel, I'm very okay with being wrong about my predictions because even some of the predictions I've made that have come out wrong, I mean, you can still profit on trading when you're trading as long as you're taking profits and, you know, updating your stop loss and that sort of thing. But I'm personally just favoring the downside still. That being said, guys, I've been very clear about this, that we are getting near support, right? So I understand that at this point, any shorts that I'm taking down at this level, I am starting to short into support, which typically speaking is a bit of a no-no. I would feel very different about shorting into this support, you know, the first time we tested it, which is exactly why I still have this long position here. Honestly, I expect the rest of my long position to get stopped out in the next couple days. But if we reverse to the upside, that's why I still have this open, just in case, right? So we're just gonna have to see what happens. But I only come on when Bitcoin dumps. Hey, I was on yesterday before it dumped. It was pumping a little bit. So yeah, I do have a bias, and that's kind of the thing too, right? Is I currently have 2 Bitcoin shorts open, 1 Bitcoin long open. I have a Shiba Inu short open, and as well AI 16Z. Actually, this one would have got stopped out in a small profit. The rest of my position there. So that one I'm actually out of, but I do have 3 short positions and 1 long position open. So yes, I'm generally favoring the bearish side, and that's when I like to come and talk about Bitcoin. Because another thing is, you guys, that most people only talk about the bullish side of things. And I don't mind being the contrarian to that because, you know, here's the thing, guys. I'm bearish, but I'm only bearish until proven otherwise. I've laid out a few of my invalidation theories that, you know, all Bitcoin has to do for me to get bullish again is break my invalidations or invalidate my bearish theories, because a lot of people are waiting for bearish confirmations. And in my opinion, where we're at right now, I want bullish confirmations before I get back into the long side of things. And here's the thing, guys. If we break to the upside here, we break through this resistance and we start staircasing higher again, great. At that point, I'll start aggressively long in this market again. It's not like I'm going to get wrecked if we go to the upside. That just means my spot bags are going to recover nicely because right now they are taking a shit kicking just like everybody else's. I'm totally fine with that. That's the difference. Is I'm looking at this with a very level head because I'm just trading the short side of things as more of a hedge against my portfolio. Because just like most people who are holding their spot bags through all of this, they're taking a shit kicking. That's all there is to it, especially with altcoins. They're getting absolutely hammered, even though Bitcoin isn't that bad yet. A lot of altcoins have seen some very significant plunges to the downside. So I'm just waiting for basically, if we break through this resistance, yeah, I'm going to be looking for long in pullbacks. But as it stands right now with these bearish signals, that I've done a lot of back testing on this exact setup, that I'm just trading the downside as far as my leverage trading goes. I have not sold all my crypto. I've sold a very small amount of it, and from there more so just favoring the downside for trading. So as it looks right now, I mean, not too surprised to see us starting to struggle here. I'm already short from when we ended up losing that 5-minute higher low. I actually never even got my Stuber entry. I was actually hoping to get into a short up a little bit higher and on the retest, and it never happened. So I actually ended up getting into it late. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, kind of chasing the trend, and also my trend master indicator, we were just getting towards my sell resist signal there. So that's kind of what led me to take that. But as it stands right now, not too surprised to see us dropping a little bit. I mean, if we're going to reverse right before starting this, I even mapped out this line. We were actually finding support here. But again, we have this bearish RSI divergence where we're going from overbought conditions, not near as exaggerated as our weekly, but even just on the 5-minute here, we were in slightly in overbought territory. That's not my concern. My concern is when we lose that overbought conditions, because that's showing that, we're losing strength. And the fact that we then ended up losing that support, just kind of confirming my thought there. As well, my wave master indicator down here, there was just a lot of signs showing that, hey, it's looking like things are a little bit overbought, like there's a potential reversal here. So not too surprised to see us dump from there, but I am already short from up higher anyways. But it's nice to see that I believe my position's going to carry on to the downside here. Just going over to the 4-hour chart, you guys know I was very ready for this first test of this support level down here. A lot of people are waiting for that, and now that they see it, it's already too late, and now they're trying to long into it. And that's where I was saying, guys, that I feel differently about this time compared to how I felt back here. I know I was told I was basically crazy when we were right at this level, and I was calling for a pullback to 94K. There was nothing. I had no inside info about tariffs. I have still, since Trump took office, I have not listened to a single speech because I just personally don't care. That's not where I'm looking for an edge in the market. My edge is not giving a fuck about fundamentals, basically, to put it nicely. But basically, after breaking that, even though it was just a little liquidity grab, I did think that there was potential that we come back down to this fib pocket here. Just like any 5-minute or 1-minute setup where I'm looking for a Stuber fib, that's all that was, right? We set a higher high, we pull back to the 786, 886. Absolutely perfect. Just a typical setup there. So this was very expected. The problem here is everyone started getting FOMO because, hey, oh, look at this, the strong bounce that we're getting off this very typical level. Everyone started getting FOMO right into resistance. Honestly, we never even quite got as high as I was actually thinking we were going to get. I opened a hedge when we lost 5-minute structure while we were pumping straight up. You guys were well aware of that when it happened. I was more so targeting up at these levels. So this Stuber fib up here has still not been tested. And that's basically going with this structure, right? We have this low, lower low. There's our lower high. So if we pull a fib from the highest point between the two, something like that, to look for resistance, you can see my purple box is the 786, 886, and then the resistance up a little bit higher. Honestly, even if we break above that, there's still obviously a little bit of resistance up ahead. So no matter what right now for Bitcoin, I just am seeing resistance up ahead. And the fact that we're coming back down to test this support level again, I have no interest in longing this again, to be honest. Like I said, I'm still favoring the short side of things, even though we're getting close to support. Something to I need to make very clear here. When I'm shorting near support like that, I have very tight invalidations. I am going to be quickly downsizing my position, treating them as scalps, and then hoping that, if it breaks out, then I catch, with half my position, it can catch a bigger breakout to the downside. Just like the short I took today. I have taken most of my profits off of it, but I still do have a little bit running. And obviously I still have my hedge from last week still running. But yeah, I'm not as bullish on this support because typically speaking, the more we test support, the weaker it's going to get and eventually break through. But we're going to have to see, right? Support is support until it's broken. I am ready for either direction. I guess the only thing that would screw me right now is if we wick down, hit my break even stop on the rest of my long, and then just moon to the upside and stop the rest of my short positions at break even as well. Yeah, that would be unfortunate. Then I have to find new positions. I would love to start looking for shorts again up in this box up here if we end up even getting there. But we're going to have to see. As far as the 4-hour goes, I was always bringing up in the last few streams, I brought up my MDXL Go Trendmaster indicator. And I said how for about the last week or so, we have really just been struggling. This blue line here, that's my sell trend. And you can see it's just been kind of pushing the price. Even when we got above it a couple times, it was very short-lived. You can see that we're just really struggling with that resistance, struggling to get any sort of momentum. I was actually kind of hoping that we would end up finding support off this blue line down here, just another level of support from the indicator. But you can see that we're struggling with it right now. So the 4 hours still, it doesn't look strong to me. We'll put it that way. The weekly, nothing has changed for me. I still think that we have the exact same fundamentals. We have the same overextended bearish RSI divergence. Like I said, that's a reversal signal that I have back tested a lot. It's actually my highest scoring back tested strategy, and it has about an 87% success rate for playing out a reversal. That does not mean that this reversal needs to be a bear market. I want to be very clear about that as well. I am not saying that we have to be in a bear market here, but I am saying that it's possible because anything is possible. If you're ever going to say that's not possible when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin, you just haven't been here for too many market cycles then, because the market does a very good job of reminding us time and time again that it does not give a shit about our feelings. And no matter how bullish we think we are on fundamentals and how well we think we understand the global economy, there's a lot of misunderstanding that goes with that, and so many things happening behind closed doors. So I would way rather just trade the charts for what they are. But maybe we just get something like we got back here. You guys know, I'll fully admit I was very, very bearish all through this, basically from, I think it was on the 4-hour, but there was a little structure break like that. And I got very bearish for, I think it was like 3 months or something like that. Actually, I think it was longer than that. This was like an 8-month range, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about an 8-month range there. And I was very bearish, and I did get some nice swing trades out of that. And eventually it got broken, invalidated, whatever. It was 3 or 4 very nice swing trades in there. Until it got invalidated, and a very small invalidation, right? That's the thing is, when I was looking for shorts up at resistance and it got invalidated, who cares? That's a very small move. There was a lot more people who were getting very bullish at this exact point, because I remember it very well because Trump was giving his speech about Bitcoin literally the day that it topped out and we got a 30% correction within a couple of weeks. So I'd rather be cautious at resistance levels rather than FOMOing into resistance, basically. So with this weekly chart, I had mentioned, just like last week, that, I thought on the new weekly candle, I thought it was very possible we test up into the previous candle. Like, guys, if this wasn't a weekly chart, if this was a 5-minute chart or a 1 hour chart or anything, nobody would even question it, right? It's very normal that you pull back into your previous candle and retest it a little bit. That's really what I was thinking for the first couple days of this week, just like I was predicting last week as well. And so far to me, that's looks like what's happening. Um, Obviously, if we get a nice big bullish green engulfing candle, we break resistance. Even if the RSI, even if we don't break resistance, but the RSI gets back into overbought conditions, I would actually start to get quite bullish on this market again, because I think that would be showing us that there is a shit ton of buying pressure in this market. Because in an uptrend, I don't necessarily consider overbought conditions as overbought. In a downtrend, yes, absolutely overbought. In a bull market, I just look at that as a lot of buying strength. So I would love to see the bulls push the RSI back up there. In that case, I promise I'll start streaming on bullish conditions again and stuff like that. But for now, it is what it is. I just can't really shake my bearish gut feeling. But again, if we go to the upside, I still have my spot bags. I will be. I have no problem with carrying on higher. That's the thing, you guys. I would love to see this market push higher for another year or so. It's just that every time we get this warning here with this type of overextended divergence, it's a very specific one, right? It's not just a bearish divergence. It's going from overextended into regular territory. It's a specific one that I look for. I truly believe when this market cycle ends and we get our bear market, I really think that is going to be the signal to call it. I'm not saying it has to be this one. It's just a very strong reversal warning. And whether it's just going to be a little pullback or a full-on bear market, I strongly believe that that will be the cycle ender eventually. Again, don't think that the cycle is over yet. But when it does happen, I think the chart will look very similar to this. And a perfect example is last market cycle, right? Obviously a little bit bigger of one, but we have that big bearish divergence and double top area kind of a thing. So basically, if you're coming up to the same resistance with significantly less strength, what's going to make you push through that resistance that it couldn't push through when you had more strength, right? That's basically the reasoning behind that. But so yeah, I do have my concerns about this market. There's no question about that. I have been very vocal about that for a while now, but, and you know what? Here's a perfect example, right? Exactly what happened up here. This looks a lot like our weekly chart. We just have our consolidation. We have the RSI dropping from overextended down to regular territory. What do we have on the 5-minute? We have the RSI and overbought conditions just consolidating sideways. Eventually we drop out. And that's when we eventually get our retest here and then dump into the downside. So just something that I want to put on your radar is all that, that is a bearish warning sign. It doesn't matter what time frame I'm looking at. I take that signal very serious, whether it's a 1-minute chart, a 5-minute chart, a 4-hour chart, a weekly chart. Structure is structure, and I'm not going to let bullish FOMO fundamentals blind my vision with that. So, yeah, so that's basically my thoughts on the longer time frame. I'm very open to the idea of going higher. I just don't see reasons for it yet. That's all. If my 4-hour indicator here gets a buy signal on it, honestly, even with that, again, not to sound like a perma bear, I understand for the medium term, I am permanently bearish right now. That's all there is to it. If we get a buy signal here on my trend master indicator, it's going to be a lower buy signal. And in that case, I would just be waiting for some sort of a bounce and then looking for a lower sell signal or a Stuber fib resistance, RSI divergence again, something like that. But I would be looking for basically a bounce to short. I wouldn't so much be looking for the long side of things yet. Until, like I said, I get some of my bearish theories invalidated. That's really all it is. Reacting over predicting, right? I could be very wrong about these predictions. Doesn't matter. Even these shorts that I'm in, I've taken good profits off both of these shorts all 3 of these shorts that I'm in. I have taken profits off of them because a lot of people like to hang on to positions and think that the only way to trade is hitting home run trades. I'm more of a fan of scalping with the first half of my position. And if the second half hits that home run, then fantastic, right? But yeah, these are all kind of things that I do talk about in my private Telegram channel. For those of you who are active traders, there is a link down below, as well as this QR code here, to access my private Telegram channel, where I share my thoughts on the market, some of my trade setups that I'm looking at, and so on, just kind of giving my overall feel on the market. Just like this morning, I was really only interested in shorting this market, ended up grabbing a few of them, played out absolutely beautifully, so can't really complain there. But yeah, hopefully you guys are all crushing this market too, or at the very least, just not getting wrecked. I hope you're not FOMOing into resistance and stuff like that. Or that being said, here's the thing, guys. I guarantee that we could have the same indicators, the same trend lines, the same trade setups, absolutely everything the exact same. And I promise you, we would trade this market different, right? Everyone trades things different. Everyone has their bias that they're better at trading. So if you are significantly better at playing the long side of things and you are catching these longs, but you're actually taking profits on the way, then I can't say anything bad about that, right? As far as scalping goes, I don't really care which way you are trading right now. Everybody has their own systems that work for them. Just like, you know what? If we end up bouncing from here, it doesn't matter. I don't care if I was wrong, because I'm still taking profits either way. It's way more important in these markets to be able to react than it is to predict. I know a lot of people who are fantastic analysts who have no idea how to trade. And I also know some very good traders who often get their analysis wrong, but they make money anyways. So that's where I say it all the time, guys, reacting over predicting any day. Let's see here, guys. I do want to catch up with the chat a little bit. Sorry if I've been ignoring you. I will catch up on that. I just want to get some tunes going for us, set the vibe here. What kind of music today? Ooh, epic. I like the sounds of that. Let me know if it's too loud or annoying. Out a little bit. Let's just watch. Here, I'll throw up a couple indicators. So if we bounce, notice my Algo Master indicator is pointing out a Stuber fib up higher, basically from where my short currently is, actually. So if we do bounce, that's a level to watch for, in my opinion. And that is exactly how I would pull it too. Pull it from the top of this range here down to the bottom, and notice we all line up well here. So I'm going to take that off, keep the trend master up. Notice we got a buy signal, obviously a much lower buy signal. Actually, where did I just see that? Shiba, I just saw that there's a lower sell signal. So again, just a bit of a warning that this downtrend may be continuing, which is great for me as far as my short goes on SHIB. Let me just turn this down very slightly. That epic music is so intense. All right, let's catch up on some chat. Matt opened 2 long futures at 94.9, 2 to 4 week position. Think the bottom is in for now. You know what? Fantastic. And that sounds like you were very much on the same page that I was a week or two ago when I ended up longing. It was 93,958 is where that long is from, just off that Stuber fib pocket. So yeah, I mean, I totally see reasons why people think the bottom is in, and honestly, it might be, right? That's the thing. The bottom could absolutely be in, and all my analysis could go right out the window. Does not matter to me, honestly, at this point. But I don't know. The weekly, my main concern, you guys, is this weekly chart. I just can't shake this bearish divergence. I just don't see, with significantly less strength, relative strength index, with significantly less strength, why are we going to break the strongest resistance we've ever had, really? I mean, that's our all-time high resistance, right? So if we couldn't push through when we had a shit ton of buying strength, Why would we smash through it now with way less strength? Obviously, that can change, right? Fundamentals, that's the thing. Fundamentals, they obviously do play their part. As far as an investment point of view, looking at something like a weekly time frame, yes, I will consider fundamentals a little bit. The problem is I only know one trader personally who trades fundamentals well, and he does not trade a 5-minute like me or a 4-hour. He's trading a weekly time frame, and he does very well with it. But most people I know are looking at fundamentals and trying to trade a 5-minute or a 1-minute chart, and that's not necessarily how trading fundamentals works. So Adrian, welcome. Good to see you here, brother. CPI tomorrow morning, says Matt. I personally, I have never listened to one of those meetings. CPI, FOMC, Trump speeches. I never listened to any of those, and I understand that they do play their part. I just don't want to misunderstand something and jump to my own conclusion and blind myself from my own charts. So I avoid that. Simple strategy for simple guy. I don't try and overcomplicate things. So one thing I will consider with things like that, when we have those events, CPI and all those kinds of things, I will consider not touching the market for a while those things happen, and maybe take a few hours off trading just to let the market decide which way it's going to go with that information, rather than assuming that I know how it's going to play out. Because quite typically, the markets get very volatile around those announcements and stuff like that. But the direction is kind of to be determined what the market makers are going to do with that information. So will I have mentor options available through MDX Algo in the future? I personally just like doing the public thing. I don't know. I much prefer the group setting. I just like to teach for free. I'm not a big fan of wanting to make people pay for my knowledge. I would just rather you know what, I can share my knowledge with you. I just enjoy doing it. And if you sign up with my BloFin link and join my Telegram, get access to my Telegram channel and stuff like that, then that way I can just take a cut of the fees from the exchange, and that way you're not actually paying me out of pocket, and I just feel a little better about that. So I don't know if I'll open up to more one-on-one mentorships or not. Kevin sees more downside here. Hopefully go long again at 91K. Let's just take a look. 91, that would bring us back down to the support here. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Again, I just have my issue with that, because whenever I take a trade setup out of one of these Stuber fibs, that's why I have this in yellow here rather than green, because it's a bit of a warning that it's already played out once. When I look at Stuber fib setups, I typically only want to play them the first time they're tested, because, and that's the hard part about it, right? It seems obvious when you look at it right now, but a lot of people have a hard time catching it that first time, being able to keep up with the charts, especially on shorter time frames, and be able to spot them in time to catch that first test. And being it's already tested, not only has it been tested, this whole box was filled, but as well, we did test my 0.5 fib, which is always my first target on a Stuber fib. Never quite reached my second, doesn't always happen. But the fact that this has in fact played out once already, I just don't have that urge to play it again. I would consider, if we pull back into this support box, I would consider longing it again. I don't want to say I never would. More so on the 4-hour looking for a swing, I wouldn't, but I would if, if let's say the 5-minute has, we break a lower high structure and we get some sort of a fib pullback on the shorter time frames. Yes, in that case, I would consider taking another long or a hedge long or whatever, depends how I'm sitting at that point. But that is one way that I would consider it. Or if my indicators are lining up, things are trending to the upside, whatever, at that point, I would consider taking a long there. But as it stands right now, I just have my concerns about that. Not to say it can't happen, though. That's the thing, right? And again, as long as you're taking profits on your positions while they run and not expecting a home run out of every single trade, then you'll probably do okay. BMO, can I have a look at the weekly SPX 500? I can take a look at SPX. Weekly chart, you say. Let us remove some drawings. Ooh, that's quite the... So this is a chart that I personally don't look at all too much. So I haven't followed it all too closely. I have not back tested any of this. I just want to make things very clear here before I do my own analysis. I do see potential that, hey, we did drop this little bit of support here. So it's possible that it's getting a super fib rejection, something like that. Basically, as long as we stay below the 115, I would remain cautious on these levels here. But that being said, guys, we have lost higher low structure before. Here would have been a mini one, and we obviously, it did not care about that. It just kept moonshotting to the upside. So that's very possible. The RSI, it's kind of all over the place. Again, I don't know what's really typical of this since I haven't back tested it a ton. Well, or ever. Wave master indicator, not seeing anything overly clear right at this level. Yes, it's had a couple of warnings with bearish divergences and stuff like that, but nothing's really jumping out at me all too aggressively yet anyways. Let me just remove some drawings again. Let's just see if we can find any sort of a trend line. I know not everybody loves diagonal trend lines. I'm just looking for any sort of confirmations on this at all. You know, this would be a trend line that I would be willing to follow at this point. And if it breaks, I would have my concerns. Obviously, if it breaks, there would still be the possibility of some sort of a retest before going to the downside. But that's something that I would definitely consider as far as the S&P goes. Let's go for something a little more chill here on the tunes. It's not going to go as high as a lot of people are saying. I agree. So guys, I know I leave fundamentals out of crypto a lot, and there's something that I want to talk about a little bit. I know a lot of people are all thinking, oh, this market cycle's different because, you know, there's bigger players in the space. They'll never let the price drop as far as we have in previous market cycles and stuff like that. The thing to consider, guys, is every one of these market cycles, they have been different, right? And I know I talked about this yesterday a little bit. Every market cycle feels different because there's bigger players in the space. Every market cycle needs to be different with bigger players in the space to continue doing the same thing, right? And that's something that a lot of people get wrong. And so basically, even though, yes, there's a fixed max supply of Bitcoin, but every cycle there is more Bitcoin in circulation. There's significantly more money in the space. And therefore, it takes significantly more money to push the price anywhere close to what happened the previous market cycle, right? So I know a lot of people are celebrating that, oh, we have BlackRock, we have Trump pushing crypto, we have all these things, all these big players are involved. You are correct. And as far as mass adoption goes, that is a good thing. As far as parabolic crypto runs that we know and love from previous, and you're hoping to catch one this time because you never caught the previous ones, I have my concerns about it, that the bigger players getting involved, I truly believe they are going to tame crypto. You know, they are, I really, after this, so let's put it this way. Every market cycle, you need a bigger, as I keep hearing it said on Twitter and stuff, there's a wall of money or a wave of money coming from bigger players, whatever. Who's the next one going to be, right? Like after this market cycle, I'm quite concerned that, you know, if governments are getting involved, if banks are getting involved, if BlackRock is involved, who is the next big wave of money that is going to come into the space and give us our next parabolic bull run? Again, it's not that I think crypto is over. I want to be very clear about that. But something to consider is just, it's absolutely possible that crypto starts being a lot less volatile than what we're used to. And a lot of people think that these big players, they haven't been in crypto long, we're going to crush them in trading and stuff. No, like my thoughts on that are, for those multi-billionaire corporations and governments and banks and all those kinds of people who are getting into the space, if you think you're going to outtrade them just because you've been in crypto longer, I have bad news for you. They generally never came into that vast amount of wealth by investing in things late, by FOMOing into things at all-time highs, by pumping other people's bags. That's not typically how those types of people like BlackRock operate. So yes, even though it's good that they're buying and it's good that they're holding and stuff like that, you have no idea what they're actually doing behind closed doors. Now they have access to futures. There's so many added things to this market over the last few years that, it's very easy to misunderstand what's happening. And I don't want to sound too bearish. I know, sorry, I do. I'm just looking at this realistically. I do think over time, it's not that I think this is going to be it and Bitcoin will never break all-time highs. I'm not saying anything like that, but I think it'll be a much more controlled manner moving forward after this market cycle. Happy to be wrong on that. That's the thing. I love bull markets just like the next guy, but that's just kind of my thoughts. Quite honestly, you guys, I know a lot of you guys have probably heard so many times now, meme coin super cycle. Oh, this is the meme coin super cycle. If it's a super cycle, generally speaking, you just buy things and hold and you get rich. How many people here can honestly say that they have thrown a bunch of money into meme coins and actually done well, unless maybe you got lucky on a couple of them? Because that's the thing, guys. I have hit a 70x this cycle. I have hit an 80x this cycle. I still wouldn't say that I've overall done well on meme coins. So I think the super cycle theory there is a little exaggerated. Honestly, the way I'm looking at it, the alt season I'm really looking forward to, and I know I talked about this last night a little bit. I know I've been speaking with some friends about this online and stuff like that. The altcoin season that I'm excited for is actually the bear market, because this bull market has been different from most, where you can't really just buy anything and have it go up because it's so diluted now, because there's, over 1 million different coins being launched every week at this point. So everything's very diluted. It's hard to actually pick a winner in the space. Whereas when it comes time to the bear market, you guys, I'm just going to short every meme coin that comes to my mind because we know that come bear market time, meme coins are going to get hammered. They are going to, every single one of them is going to drop at least 95%. And that's just how bear markets work. And I think that's going to be the much more obvious play as far as making money on altcoins. I'm not saying that I think we're there yet, but when the bear market comes, I'm very excited to be shorting meme coins. I think it's going to be so much fun. I think a lot of people are going to be depressed when they come to realize that, hey, the bull market's over. Honestly, I couldn't tell you when that's going to be. I don't think it's yet, but when it happens, a lot of people are going to be upset, and I'm going to have so much fun shorting. I love shorting. I do long as well, but there's a special feeling towards making money to the downside, and as well, bearish structure typically plays out faster than bullish. So bear markets are very fun. As traders, you should not fear downside volatility. Most people are bearish. Most people don't expect 500K plus this year. Would be hysterical. 2 gigapump. Honestly, I agree with you. It would be hysterical. I don't think that's reasonable. I don't think it's realistic that we would ever hit 500K this year. Typically speaking, market cycles have diminishing returns. Every market cycle gets smaller. Yes, the numbers go up more drastically, but the percentages get significantly smaller. So to get some sort of super cycle that just defies the other four, or how many cycles has there been? 3 or 4 cycles prior, to just totally defy all that and go for just a giga ascend to 500K, that would be quite funny. And I agree with you. And honestly, even though I'm bearish, I wouldn't care, because my altcoin bags and my spot Bitcoin and all my crypto would be doing fantastic, right? That's the thing. Trading these markets isn't always about predicting the right thing. It's honestly a big part of trading is protecting yourself from anything. The sooner you can admit that your theories could be wrong, the sooner you're going to do okay trading. Because one of the most important things is not being stubborn, being able to change your opinion as structure changes. You know, getting stuck in your ways can be quite dangerous. And honestly, that's something that I consider right now, right? I'm so bearish, and I've been so bearish for a while now, that it does concern me a little bit that, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm feeling so confident that, hey, there's a chance that I'm wrong. But like I said, I have my invalidation theories, basically break all-time highs, break my RSI, anything like that. I'm willing to change my opinion, right? I personally don't see us going above 150K this cycle. Happy to be wrong, but I just don't see it. Set the vibe. That's what she said. Brandon gets it. Bring it down. BTC 75K. Here we come. Perhaps. We'll have to see. Actually, so speaking of that, guys, since somebody said that everybody's bearish, let's just bring up retail long to short. Retail is 61.34% long. Retail is generally on the wrong side of the trades. So yes, you might hear people being bearish, but according to this, more people are trying to long this market than short. To be fair, the top traders are also long heavy right now. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. But just when I hear that, you know, everyone's bearish right now, see, I'm seeing things on social media where bearish people are still getting picked apart, and that bullish people, the difference is a lot of the bearish people that I follow have invalidations that they're very clear about, invalidations that they're watching for and stuff like that before turning bullish again. Whereas I find that a lot of the bullish people don't have any validations in mind other than, no, we're going up because Trump is in office. That doesn't necessarily have to play out that way, right? So something to consider there. Sam, good to see you here. What's going on, brother? Sam gets it. Everybody, if you do appreciate my my level-headed approach to the market, I suppose, yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? It doesn't really matter what the market's doing. I'm not going to get upset either way, because for one, if you guys, not necessarily you guys, but if anybody is losing money on trades and they're getting very upset about it, basically the easy answer is you're trading with too much money, right? Like, I lost a trade yesterday on my live stream. That's totally fine. The main thing is controlling your losses, right? And that's where I like looking for those fib pullbacks, because you always have a nice tight invalidation that way. So you're looking for a structure break followed by a pullback, rather than FOMOing into a breakout and getting wrecked on a much larger invalidation kind of a thing. So yeah, I don't know. Me personally, I never get upset. I can lose several trades in a day before I start to even feel a little bit upset, because proper risk management, bankroll management, never putting too much into a trade, and just, yeah, if you lose, you lose. Every trader loses trades. Just because you lose a trade doesn't mean it was even the wrong setup, right? That's just how trading goes. Release your fears, you must, like a trading Jedi. Absolutely. Hungry Hobo. If I have 100% of my bags in XRP at $3, would now be a good time to remortgage my house and double down? Oh, God. I know that's sarcastic, but yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people are set in that mindset, right? That, oh, just because XRP got back up to its all-time highs area. Everyone's bullish that, oh, the SEC isn't standing in their way this time, et cetera, et cetera. You guys, it took XRP 7 years to get back towards its healthy levels, or it's getting close to its all-time highs, and immediately started getting rejected with everything else. So yeah, I have my thoughts on XRP. You guys know that. I personally don't think it goes above $10 this cycle, but obviously if I'm wrong on that, I don't care either way. I had my fun with XRP at the start of 2018 when it first hit that 350. What was it? 350, 325, something like that. That was the big XRP hype run, and people are getting hyped on it again this cycle, 2 cycles later. I just think it's a little bit late for that, but you know, I guess to each their own, and I'm happy to be wrong. You know what? If XRP goes up to 500 and whatever dollars, like I keep seeing on Twitter, then congratulations. If it goes up to 30,000, like the most ridiculous price target that I have seen, then I would honestly that would not be something to celebrate. The world would be in a very scary place, because that would be such an enormous market cap. The world economy would be devastated. Yeah, smash the thumbs up like your Alabama cousin. Absolutely. Yeah, guys, if you appreciate my take, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And like I said, for those of you who are active traders, let me just get this guy up here. For those of you who are active traders, there is that link down below, as well as this QR code to access my private Telegram channel, where, again, I just share my general thoughts on the market. I do share some of my trade setups that I'm looking at, just doing updates on my positions, all that sort of thing. Obviously, on a day like today, if I'm bouncing around between 3 or 4 coins and trading the 1 minute or the 5 minute, and adjusting positions constantly and stuff, yeah, I'll do my updates when I can. But honestly, on the shorter time frames, yeah, sometimes it's hard to get those signals out there in time. But my general overall thoughts on the markets, I'm always updating in that channel every single day. So do yourselves a favor. If you're an active trader, get in there. Would love to see you in there. Would love to hear your feedback on that. So yeah, still struggling a little bit. Bitcoin is trying to climb. I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to break above this resistance here, but we'll have to see. If we do start climbing, like, again, I don't know if right now is necessarily the time to FOMO into a short by any means. But I'm still only interested in playing the short side. And I've been very vocal about that in the Telegram channel, that yes, I'm open to the idea of the market bouncing. That's why I take profits along the way on my shorts. But I'm not overly interested in catching along at this point. I'm way more interested in waiting for a bounce and then shorting those bounces. And that really just comes down to this weekly signal here. Until my bearish theories are invalidated, then I'll start trading the long side again a little more aggressively. But like I said, still have most of my spot bags. It's not like I panic sold everything. I'm just looking at trading the market to the downside as a hedge against my portfolio, basically. Really looks like SHIB is going to try and print a higher buy signal here in a second, which would be a little bit of a warning to me. I'd actually, if we get a higher buy signal here right away, I'm going to take that as a warning that things might be reversing, and I'm going to take a little more profits off my SHIB position. It's not so much that I treat every signal on its own with all too much confidence, but When I'm looking at the direction they're trading, for example, like so far, still seeing this downtrend here. If we get a higher trending buy signal, I'm at least going to take that as a little bit of a warning. Again, I have no interest in going long right now, but I would at least recognize that something bullish might be happening. So I'd at least be willing to downsize my position, pay myself a little bit, and that sort of thing. But yeah, something I'm gonna, I actually haven't looked at Trump in a few days. Let's take a look at Trump coin. That was my favorite coin to short for a few weeks there, but it kind of flatlined a little bit. There was some warnings on the 4 hour, which made me start pumping the brakes a little bit. I've been shorting this thing since about $50, I think. Yeah, still just an ugly trend. Guys, I know a lot of people are bullish on Trump coin, and to be fair, yeah, I totally expect it to randomly get a pump out of nowhere someday. Yeah, absolutely, it's possible. But as it stands right now, this 4 hour chart has never broken a lower high. It has never once in its life broke lower high resistance on the 4 hour. So until it does, I just can't YOLO into some sort of a big spot bag or a big long position or anything like that. Even recently, this would have been our low back here. You can see that we obviously broke it here. So a new lower low, low, lower low. Where's the highest point between the two? That would be up here. So that's the lower high structure, right around $20.63, somewhere in there is the lower high on the 4 hour that I'd be watching there. If we set a new lower low, then I would drop this down to the highest point between the last two lows, right? What's the 5 minute looking like? It's looking a little dumpy. Again, up here, we had that very similar setup towards what I just showed on Bitcoin on the 5 minute when we lost this structure right here. Let me just remove a couple things there. When we got this signal on the Wave Master indicator, we just had a reversal warning. We had a trend pivot. We just had a couple things right in overextended conditions right there, and then seeing that little pullback there. That's basically exactly what I'm seeing from Trump up here. It was starting to warn up here that it was looking overbought. And then eventually, so here we had our high, higher high. This would be our higher low. Eventually we end up breaking that, and it was just straight nuke from there. Even on the more immediate short term here, this is very micro analyzing, but just to show, you know, basic structure here, we did technically high and we did get a little bit higher. So this was the higher low, or if you wanted to consider this whole thing an order block, we ended up dropping that, right? So still doesn't look great. Thing is, since everything has dumped so much today, I wouldn't be surprised to see a relief rally come into play at some point. We also have this potential double bottom down here. So yeah, again, I don't think it's necessarily a good time to just be YOLOing into a short down at support. But it still doesn't look great, in my opinion. Well, we did get a lower sell signal on the Trendmaster indicator. So even if you wanted a tight invalidation setup, you could be looking at a short from this level with your invalidation just above these highs back here. I'm already in a few shorts, so I don't want to take another one quite yet. I would rather see a bounce before this, but yeah, it's looking weak to me. Tesla sold its BTC on last earning. Binance sold 95% of its Bitcoin reserve. FTX returned tokens to user, and the Fed denied quantitative easing possibility. BTC still above 95K. Seems like a bull market to me. You know what? Maybe. But here's the other side of that. How many bullish fundamentals have you heard since Trump starting to talk about Bitcoin, even before he was in office? How many bullish things have you heard about crypto? And to say that it's not breaking all-time highs. So that argument can go both ways when it comes to fundamentals. And also, again, weekly timeframes take a long time to play out, right? So if this bearish signal is going to play out, you know, I don't expect it to happen today or tomorrow. That's going to take a while to play out, if it's going to play out. Depends on Trump. Yeah, it might. Honestly, again, like I said earlier, I have never listened to one of his speeches. I have never listened to anything that he's said about crypto other than little clips of that have been shared. I really don't care what he says. Because here's the thing. If a fundamental is going to affect things bullishly, we will see bullish structure forming. If something is going to happen that he says and it's bearish, the charts are going to show it, right? So yes, those fundamentals and those speeches and things, yes, they can affect the price, but you don't know for sure which way it's going to affect the price, and waiting for that confirmation in the charts to match up with those fundamentals is a lot safer than just assuming that, hey, this is happening, therefore the price is going to go up. Because, yeah, maybe it's all those bearish things that are causing this big divergence here. Either way, that divergence has not been invalidated yet. That's the thing, right? Just like I said earlier, it doesn't, analysis can be wrong. It's more important to be able to react. But I just don't see a nice reaction from the bulls at this point. You know, nothing's been invalidated for me yet, so I'm not reacting to that yet. I'm not going to jump on the bull train until something changes. Basically, I'm bearish until proven otherwise. Fundamental doesn't matter in a bull market. Honestly, I would say it doesn't matter in a bear market either. Because here's the thing, every bear market, the fundamentals are still getting better around crypto. Crypto is still moving forwards in bear markets, but the thing is, it can still happen, right? That's why, honestly, I don't trade the fundamentals at all. I'm more of a trader than an investor. Yes, I have my crypto investments. That's totally fine. But I personally am more of a trader myself. So I personally don't give a shit about fundamentals. I just trade the chart, draw some colorful lines and trade them. There will always be bullish and bearish fundamentals. That's basically, that's all there is to it. Those things will always be there, both of them. And a lot of people, they kind of wait, and let's say a day like today, okay, the market dumps. Now a bunch of people are going to go back and say, oh, it dumped because Trump said this. Well, okay, but even wasting your time going back and finding out why it happened, what good does that do you, right? How are you going to use that information to benefit yourself? You can't, right? That's just why I would go to the charts every time. But that's the difference between investing and trading, right? I've tried trading on fundamentals back in 2017, 2018, and I know how that went. And I know how things go when I trade the chart instead. So I'm going to keep trading the chart instead. Favorite place to kite. There we go. Let's get into the personal stuff here. Let's get into the good stuff. Favorite place to kite surf. That depends. Snow or water. kited a lot of cool places. I've kited in Hawaii, both coasts of Mexico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, bunch of random lakes, West Coast Canada, and then in the snow, just wherever. Yeah, Hungry Hobo, you make a good point. Bearish news usually starts once the bottom is in. Yeah, that's when you see a lot of it. And that's actually, so a good point about that is sometimes what's more important than seeing what fundamentals are affecting the price, start paying attention to when they don't. And I remember back, was that the bottom of last cycle? I can't remember. I want to say Bitcoin was like around 10,000 or 13,000 or something. And I remember BitMEX was the big exchange at the time that everyone was trading leverage on. And I remember it was like their CEOs or something, like they were all under investigation. Some of them were arrested, all that kind of stuff. Whatever happened there was a big scare in the market. Everyone got very bearish, but the price didn't actually continue downward. And at that point, I got very vocally bullish at that point when everyone was calling me crazy then. And they were like, oh, all these bearish things are happening right now. And I was like, yeah, but look at the price. It's not being affected by it. So there's a lack of selling pressure. Same with after the FTX collapse. There was absolutely the initial panic there, and everyone started calling for 10K, 12K, 10K, 5K. Everyone was targeting significantly lower. And right around, I think it was when we bounced, we were like around 18K, and I became very vocal there as well. And I was basically like, I think that's it. I think that's all it had, because something extremely bearish just happened and the price did its last little dumpy dump. And then the panic seemed to disappear. The panic was still there, but the price was not panicking anymore. So that was a big green flag to me. And I remember some of literally the exact same people that have been arguing with me about my bearish theories over the last couple of months, literally some of the exact same people were arguing with me when I got bullish down around 18K. Do with that information as you will. Yeah, trade for ice. If bad news comes out, price stays strong, likely bull market. It's not about news, it's about the reaction to news for you. Yeah, that's fair. That's just like what I just mentioned on the bear side of things when I got bullish, right? The thing is, for me right now, I hear a lot more bullish information and fundamentals than bearish. So the fact that the price isn't really, in fact, the price is slightly bleeding off with all of those bullish fundamentals being thrown at me every single day. That's honestly one of my big concerns right now. And again, I truly don't believe this bull market's over. I just think that to say that there's no red flags here and we have to go higher right from here, I think that is more so what I'm getting at. Something to consider, and I know I'm going to trigger a lot of people right now. This is going to be a target a lot lower than most people want to see. But if we end up losing this support here, unless, you know, it's absolutely possible. If we do something like this, where we set a low, I don't know how long it would actually take to play out, but let's just, in theory, let's say, so we lose our support, right? We set a new low. Let's say we set another new low, just slightly lower from there, and then break our structure like this. At that point, I would get very bullish again, just because that would be a lower high that has been broken. And it would just be confirming that, hey, at that point, I think it's possible we see some sort of a pullback and then have it be bullish, right? At that point, I would be very bullish on that pullback. But there's a lot of what ifs between now and then. That by all means does not have to happen, but that's something that I'd be watching for. If, on the other hand, we end up losing this support with this bearish signal here and start targeting down lower, I know a lot of people are kind of targeting that 75K level somewhere in there, basically just the top of this range, basically 73 to 75K, somewhere in there. Here's my thing with that is I think if we're going to go down that low, it makes a lot of sense that we would test a Stuber fib pull from our previous low, our range low, which would be down there. That would look something like this. Again, trigger warning, and this does not have to happen. Very clear about that. This does not have to happen, but it is very possible. That would bring us down all the way towards 63K, down towards 56. There would literally be, me and a buddy were talking about this earlier, but that would literally be, I hate to say it, but I really think literally there'd be people jumping off bridges and shit. People get very emotionally attached to their investments, especially when they buy the top by accident. A lot of people will take that rough if we drop down to those levels. And I'm not even saying I think we're going there, but as an analyst and more importantly a trader, it's important to be open to any scenario, because that's not even my worst case scenario, guys. I'm not even going to get into that one because I don't want to be I don't want to be attacked about what I think could happen. But again, that's all very far away from now. What coin can I buy and hold now? If you ask me, Bitcoin's your safest bet. Bitcoin looks like shit, but altcoins, basically, if I'm right about Bitcoin and if it does absolutely take a tumble, altcoins are going to get hammered. I mean, we've seen how bad altcoins have been getting hammered just by Bitcoin trading sideways like this. If Bitcoin starts dumping, whew, she's going to get rough in the altcoin market, fellas. Ooh, interesting. An IBIT gap in the daily, there's a lower one around 33% down from here, which would be around 63K. So yeah, actually, like I just mentioned, I don't think it's impossible we go there. I'm not saying we are, but it's absolutely a possibility. Do we have time to drop that low? We have all the time in the world. Why would we not have time to drop that low is my question. BTC usually tops in March, October, and November. Plan to sell the rest of your bag by March if nothing happens. Yeah, and that's fair. Honestly, here's the thing, guys. Most of my altcoins, most of my Bitcoin, most of it's going to get held even through the bear market. I know that a bunch of my investments are going to take a shit kicking. But those are my investments, right? I look at my investments and my trading account very, very differently. Just say at 20K, I'll do it. Not quite. You're not far off, though. You know what? Just to really get the blood pumping for some people here. Basically, here's my thought. Again, I'm not saying it's the bear market yet, but if it were, and if we start dumping, I would treat it just like a 5 minute, just like a 1 minute, just like a 4 hour. I'd be looking at my Stuber fib. That at this point, if we reversed from here, would be down around 37 down to 26K. Before I start getting attacked in the comments and Stu, you idiot, that can't possibly happen, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make something pretty clear here that if we go to previous market cycles, because, every market cycle feels different, right? Let's go to our previous market cycle. Where did we bottom out? Oh, look at that. Right around the 786. What about the cycle before that? Pull from bear market bottom to bull market top. Oh, look at that. Right in the middle of the 786, 886 pocket. Go to the cycle before that. Pull from the bottom where we topped out there. Where do we end up bottoming? Oh, look at that. Right in the 786, 886 fib pocket. So you're starting to see why I use these fibs all the time. Doesn't matter time frame, weekly, 4 hourly, 5 minute, whatever. Just understand that it's possible, right? I know it always feels like it's not possible, but it is possible. Rather hold Chinese stock than Bitcoin at this moment. That's fair. I haven't followed any Chinese stocks or anything, but what are some of my alts? What are some of my alts? Let me double check what some of my alts are. Let's see. I got some Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, Trio, Griffin, IQ 6900, Based AI. Eng, Crow, Near, Dot, some memers. Yeah, just some random stuff. For the most part, mostly Bitcoin for me, guys. Mostly Bitcoin and trading account stables. Those are the two things I care about most. Altcoins, yeah, they're more of a lottery ticket in my eyes. Sailor would just buy off exchanges instead of OTC if he needed to hold the price up. The thing is, I know I don't want to accidentally give you the wrong information, but there's a whole strategy between his stock prices and the Bitcoin price and stuff like that. I don't understand or know exactly how it works. I know someone who does understand that significantly better than myself, but he doesn't necessarily need to keep the price up. Another thing to consider is he was very much around in the last market cycle as well, and he did not stop a bear market. Crypto respects the 7-8 versus the 6-1-8, in my opinion, says Barry. I agree. I find that, see, the thing is, the 6-1-8 is also a very strong fib level. But I find so often that even if you're going to test the 6-1-8 and your candle bodies are respecting it, that so often you'll wick to the 7-8-6 anyways. But yeah, I prefer the 7-8-6 and the 8-8-6 just because, again, that's also just tighter to invalidation of the swing low or the swing high, depending which way you're playing it. Is BloFin going to steal my money if I try using it with a VPN? I wouldn't think so. BloFin is no KYC, so I don't think you even need a VPN to trade there, honestly. I usually use a VPN, but I don't hold me to that. I don't think it's required. But if you do use it, I don't see that being an issue either, because like I said, I usually have a VPN on and it's never been an issue. Yeah, Bitcoin's still just struggling ever since that little, like I said, the Wave Master was showing some warnings there. We end up losing that support and it's just looking weak since. So yeah, I'm happy I'm holding on to my shorts, I should say. Trump is still, like I said, lower sell signal. It is looking a little weak yet. I don't want to FOMO into a short, but I really don't have a ton of faith in that one. I could see it continuing to drop. SHIB never did get that higher buy signal yet. Still got the purple trend line. But if it flips back blue, yeah, I think it's going to be looking pretty weak. And again, glad I'm holding on to that for now. Oh, we did reclaim this little blue support on the 4-hour. I guess that 4-hour candle just closed a minute ago, hey? Which means we also had a daily close. Daily doesn't look great. It is getting rejected by the buy trend. It's not even a sell trend yet. So, I mean, if this down move is going to continue, it has not even started, in my opinion, if it's going to happen, right? Happy to be invalidated. Like I said, if my bags end up pumping to the moon, I am not going to complain. I'm just going to change the direction that I'm trading my stables with leverage on, right? My investments will do fine if we end up climbing. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. Hopefully you guys found this stream useful. If so, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. And as I mentioned, if you want access to my private Telegram channel where I share some of my theories and trade setup ideas, there is a link down below for that. To access this channel, you must sign up to BloFin using my link, and there is a $300 deposit requirement. This is not a form of payment to me. This is your own money to trade with in your new BloFin account. So if that does interest you, follow the steps to the process in the description down below. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace. Thank you all so much for joining. Always appreciate doing these with you guys. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. Good luck in the markets, legends. Peace.